What is up, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to Sixers Post Game Live. Today, we are breaking down Sixers versus Celtics. Guys, if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you love or hate Doc Rivers. We are breaking it down tonight. Joining me, my man, he is Justin. Follow him on Twitter at J_Persichetti. What's good, Justin?
Yo, man, I'm doing well, and especially after watching that game and the end of that game, was a lot of fun from Joel Embiid, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Let's go. Also, the man, the myth, the legend, he is Tiago. Follow him on Twitter at T_Scabia. It's good, Tiago.
It's good, man. Nice preview for the play-in tournament in a couple months. So Sixers up 1-0 on the best of 3 series.
All right, Sixers get the W, 108-103. We're talking about our top takeaways, player of the game, team grades. Let's get started. I mean, first of all, you have to start off with the Sixers offense. The Sixers offense has been absolutely dreadful over the last, 11 games, 10 of those by Joel Embiid since returning from injury, near bottom of the league in offensive rating. And you look at this team, you look at the Celtics team, offensively, it was a struggle. The refs struggled. The offense struggled even more for the Sixers. Yes, they got the W, but like Tiago said, this is not good basketball. This is not good basketball. When you see Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, Seth Curry, 26 of the Sixers' first 28 points in the first quarter. Seth Curry, 8 points. Joel Embiid, 10 points in the second quarter. 18 of the Sixers' 23 points. Joel Embiid has been pulling magic out of his ass in these late-game situations for the Sixers. Joel Embiid has been unbelievable. He is a special player. He had, 9 of the last Sixers points here to win the Sixers the game. He was everything. He was the closer. He is amazing. This is not offense that will carry over into the playoffs. This is bad basketball, and I'm not going to celebrate a win over the Celtics, who look terrible. This is what I see. Tiago, followed up.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. And a little bit has to do with the fact that they're very short-handed tonight. I mean, they were down some major rotation pieces. So I'm going to ease up a little bit on the criticism for that same reason. I think that the good news is that we're seeing Joel Embiid truly assert himself. Chris wants to say something. Go ahead.
No, I want you to guess. Who had the 1 point off the bench tonight? Tiago. Any guesses?
That's a good question. That is a very good question.
1 point.
Was it Charles Bassey?
It was Isaiah Joe, your boy.
I was going to guess that. I
mean, Isaiah Joe is his own set of problems right now. He had a golden opportunity to assert himself tonight, and he threw up a massive 0. So, yeah, it's bad news there. But I think the big picture is the fact that Joel Embiid is finally truly asserted himself offensively. You saw the whole package tonight, man. It was that mid-range is starting to come around. He's shooting much better from mid-range, attacking the glass off the dribble. I mean, he made Cannon look like a complete fool multiple times, reminding me a little bit of the old Joel from the MVP season last year. And I thought the passing, once again, the last 2 games has been really solid. He's made some phenomenal reads off the post, the extended post. He had some kind of bad turnovers, but that comes to expect, especially with Joel handling the ball more than ever. So I think big picture, Joel Embiid returning to his old MVP self is a huge plus for the Sixers. But like you said, Chris, the way that he's been asked to get these buckets late in the game, I mean, you're asking the guy to take an 18-foot step back, fade away from the corner. That is not sustainable offense, man.
This is Joel Embiid in the second half. Look at that, 2 of 4 in the paint. Most of it coming from, 15, 18 feet here. And that one miraculous one, it was like a pull-up, fade away on the sideline jumper that gave the Sixers a 105-103 1 lead here late in the fourth quarter. He's been absolutely – it's like watching Carson Wentz play hero ball, and it's amazing to watch when it works. It's probably not going to last. Justin, what was your takeaway of this game and any thoughts on what's been said?
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much covered Joel Embiid pretty well. I think my thought process is exactly what you just got done saying when it comes to him, is that it's amazing and fun to watch when Joel is hitting all these miraculous shots, just like he was for a lot of the season last season. But this year, because of injuries, because of COVID, because of lack of players, and because of him having to play a lot more defense, it hasn't been able to be as consistent. And so, like you said, I don't think this is going to be a consistent thing that the Sixers are capable of rolling out through this season, and especially in the postseason. Mind you, he also was going up against Ennis Freedom or Ennis Cantor, whatever you want to.
Yeah, we call him Cantor in this podcast. We were going to call him Cantor in this podcast. That's the way we're going to roll here.
he is. It wasn't Al Horford where Joel struggled against last time they played the Celtics. This was Ennis. So take that for what you will. But I think another guy you really need to shout out this game, who had a really nice game, was Seth Curry.
Yeah, man.
Seth Curry, and mind you, this has been consistent all season, but I saw something online today that he has the highest percentage mid-range field goal percentage in the league, and that's above a guy like Kevin Durant. Like that's insane. Like to think about that Seth Curry, a guy who's making just about $10 million, is shooting like 70% from the mid-range. And so I think we should talk about Seth a little bit. I know we talk about him a lot, but I think it's important.
Yeah, Seth had a massive, massive bucket that cut the lead for the Sixers in the fourth quarter. It was she shot over the screen and got the N1. It was just a huge, huge moment in this game.
Can I just make a point on Curry, though?
Yeah.
Because I think it's important. Justin saying it's spot on. Like, without Curry in the offense, this offense is in big trouble.
100%.
But here's the thing. If you're going to pin your offense on Seth Curry because you, A, don't have any other alternatives other than Embiid, or B, you're not creative enough to generate offense for others, then you better be willing to pay the consequences on the defensive end. Because if you guys are watching the game late, I mean, Boston was just hounding him on every possession. They would just call the switch on Curry, and it would be Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, one-on-one. And I don't know how the Sixers can survive in the postseason with Curry playing defense in crunch time, especially when you're talking about going with guys like Kevin Durant and Giannis offensively. So, Doc seems happy to have Curry as his 1B complement to Embiid. And Curry shooting 90% from mid-range, that may just be enough. But if he's not, like, the Sixers cannot survive these Curry minutes like they did tonight, but just by a thin hair. So
I will say, I think it is possible for Curry to be on this roster and be a starting shooting guard on a roster in a champion with the championship contending team. I think it is a possibility. But I think what you need with that is other guys who are going to play good defense and be able to get to the hole on a consistent basis. They had that in Ben Simmons at the one before, but Ben Simmons obviously isn't playing anymore. And Tobias was a decent third option when you had that amount of defense. And Danny Green spotting up and doing what he did with Ben in transition. So it's like all you really needed, but like I think that lineup was not necessarily bad. Besides the fact of maybe you want to try to upgrade in some spots for some shot creation from somebody else. The real upgrades that needed to happen was the bench unit and a lot of just like the role players that were inconsistent. And so now with Ben Simmons gone, it makes it harder for the lineup defensively in the starting lineup to make sense around Embiid and Curry and all that. So I don't disagree with you, and I think it's a hard situation for Doc, where it's okay. You love what Seth Curry's doing, and it's hard to say that you want somebody else in a position like that because of how efficient he's been on the offensive end. But you also see how much he's hunted on the defensive end in the playoffs. That's not going to be good for you. So it's like, what do you do with that? Do you wait to make an addition to the team, or do you try to change the structure of the lineup around Embiid?
So I think you can survive with Curry, to your point, but that probably means you have to play Thibault in your lineup with Danny Green and Tobias Harris. And at that point, you're sacrificing Maxey and your late game offense. And he's really the only true guy who can pressure the rim off the dribble. So, yeah, to your point, yes, you can definitely survive, I think, with Curry. But if Curry's not shooting well enough, then you really don't have that mid-range option, and you don't have a guy who can pressure the rim in Maxey because he's going to be on your bench. So you're then again limiting your offense even more around Embiid. But again, these are the equation they have to solve with an imperfect roster, and the Sixers are an imperfect roster. So
now, am I the only one that's not necessarily upset with having Maxey run your bench unit? At least right now. Like I'm not like, and I feel like I've been with like saying this most of the season, but like to me that doesn't upset me. Like having Maxey have his own unit for him to grow and run with a very good backup center and good shooting around him. I think that's honestly the best lineup to put around a guy like Maxey. So it's like I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea personally. Now, obviously, a lot of fans are going to be like, "No, Maxey's the future. We want him to grow with Embiid, yada yada yada." It's okay, yeah, you would like that to happen, but in all reality, and this is just being honest with ourselves, the kind of offense that Doc wants to run with Embiid on the court is not suitable to Maxey's strengths. It's just not, and that's where we're at. If you want to build a team around Joel Embiid, it's going to be hard to have Maxey grow in that lineup.
Yep, at least for this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. This year's team, if you want to try to build around Embiid.
I mean, realistically, right now, no moves are made. Your team is going to live and die with that Maxey Embiid pick and roll. So I agree completely, Justin. I've been on the Maxey bus on that second unit. It doesn't matter who starts; it matters who finishes. Doc is not changing this two-man game between Seth and Joel. Doc is not changing this this horrific offense where it's give it to Tobias and Tobias can shoot with 5 seconds left and it is what it is. But kudos to the big three tonight. 85% of the Sixers offense came from the big three tonight. But it's amazing to me, Tiago. Like you watched Tobias tonight, he had 25 points, and it's just so amazing. The difference is between quick thinking Tobias and just like lazy Tobias. It's like literally night and day. It's like an on-off switch. The biggest on-off switch on an NBA player I've seen since aggressive Ben versus non-aggressive Ben. It's like a completely different player. When he's like making quick decisions and attacking, he's a solid player. But we just haven't seen that very much at all this year. And just I don't know, man. I'm just tired of the lazy handling this team has. I'm tired of the lazy passes, the lazy offense. They just look so uninspired. Like outside of Maxey, this team is dead. This team is mostly dead to rights on offense, other than Joel Embiid, of course.
Just one thing on Tobias, because I mean I'm not going to criticize him. I thought he had a pretty good game, competed defensively, the whole 9 yards. You look at the box score, effective. Yeah, that's the key. Aaron Henry, 4+ minutes in basketball.
Your boy, man.
I love him, man.
Get him out. Get him out.
Can I tell you real quick about the Aaron before? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tiago. I know we want to. I want to talk about Tobias Harris too, but just about Harrison's comment here. Aaron Henry, he tried to put up that like little floater, little top step floater in the paint. And he got blocked by Romeo Langford. And it's hilarious to me because that's the shot that he makes a ton with the Bluecoats. Like he goes for that shot a lot. And that's like a real like welcome to the NBA kind of block. It's like, oh yeah, the guys are a little bit longer and a little bit more athletic here. You're not going to be able to just jump up and throw a floater up whenever you want now.
Yeah, that was definitely an eye opener. I was like, man, the elevator is one step higher in the NBA.
Yep.
I love this comment by my man Quentin says Sixers are 5-0 after Spider-Man movie openings. Yep. I mean, I'm like 11-0 after seeing No Way Home. I loved it so much. So
me too.
Continue.
That's for another podcast. But yeah, Tobias Harris.
So I mean, to wrap up the bow on Tobias, because I mean he's always going to be the center of criticism without Ben. But here's the thing: I mean, you're getting paid $150 million, whatever you're getting paid, and I don't care about the money because you are a good player. But when Boston unapologetically switches Peyton Pritchard on you, you have to make them pay. And I mean, Boston was consistently switching Pritchard, Dennis Schroeder. It didn't matter. They were just like, I don't care. Get him out of there. He's not going to attack. He's not going to do anything off the dribble. So, again, a good Tobias Harris game. But if your max player cannot attack these guys off the dribble, you have a massive problem. Because these guys should be cooked every time they're on the floor. And Tobias Harris was not able to do that again tonight. And then once again, it falls on Embiid. It falls on Curry to hit these wild shots late in the game, which they did tonight. So kudos to them. But overall, a pretty good Tobias game.
Now, to Tobias Harris's credit as well with this game, and I think it goes along with Embiid and Curry. It's been a while coming for Embiid to have be this consistent and this efficient. I mean, he shot above 50% from the field, which we genuinely, even when he's had good games, we haven't seen him shooting above 50% a lot recently because he's just missing a lot of his mid-range jump shots. I think when Embiid is making those kind of more inefficient shots for him, at least this year, it makes Tobias not have to make as many inefficient shots, if that makes sense. A lot of times it feels like Tobias is taking like 20 shots a game or 15 to 20 shots a game, and just a lot of them aren't going down because he's trying to force his offense. He's trying to force something for the Sixers to have an edge on their opponent. And when Embiid has nights like this, it makes it more simple, I think, for what Tobias's uses are in this offense. I think a lot of Tobias's game has to do with what, and maybe this is in his head. I don't know if it's Doc like telling him this is what he should be doing, but I feel like he tries to kind of play hero ball a lot more when Embiid is struggling, and Embiid didn't struggle tonight.
Every time Tobias, misses one of those contested fadeaways, my soul just dies just a little bit more.
He actually made a bunch last year, those contested fadeaways.
I know. He did. And the reality is Tobias is half the player he was last year. And you look at kind of his shot chart right here, 7 of 13 from the floor. A lot of misses there in the paint. A lot of misses on he should have had a lot of more mismatches in this game.
Have you noticed that without Ben now, every open court transition possession starts with Tobias on the ball rebounding? And you're like, no, you're like the slowest, one of the worst passers on the team, and here you are leading the break now. It's like, no.
I feel like Embiid actually leads the break a lot more than anybody
else. He does. Embiid too.
I think I said this last time we did a post-game show. Embiid has taken over a lot of Simmons' ball handling opportunities in the full court. And I mean, I was saying this as a point is being confused as to why Maxi's not getting those opportunities. But I just find it hilarious. I'm like, wow, okay, so Ben Simmons leaves and now Joel, when Ben Simmons was playing, had a ton on his plate. He's got I don't even know how he's handling some of the stuff he's doing now. You know what I mean? It's like now he's not only is he the anchor on the back for defense, he's also has to lead the team in rebounding. He's got to be the guy who's dishing out assists in full court, and he's got to be your closer, and he's got to stretch the court when they're trying to give Tobias Harris possessions. It's ridiculous.
And he's got to cover for when Seth Curry gets cooked off the dribble. He's got to rotate to the rim and block the shot.
And let's not forget that this man, and I tweeted this out earlier today, it is so unfortunate to me that it is now a normalcy to see Joel Embiid constantly grabbing at his knees and being in pain and constantly in pain. He's looking like Allen Iverson out there playing, having to constantly be playing through injuries because he either can't get people to come play with him, or his teammates just are being assholes. It just doesn't it's stuck. It really sucks because I have just the worst feeling that for Sixers fans in general, that Joel Embiid last year, that was going to be the last time Joel Embiid had a season like that because of injuries. I just have such a bad feeling that that's going to be it. Mind you, I could easily be proven wrong. The guy's not old by any means, but his body is 20 years older than his actual age, it feels like.
Real quick, as much as we want to give Tobias Harris his props here tonight. He had 25 points. The man in clutch situations this year averages 1.1 points a game in clutch situations in 13 games. He had 1 point, and that was a technical free throw here in the remaining moments of this game. So it is what it is. Just Tobias Harris, we need you back, brother. We need you back. And I don't think that's going to happen under Doc Rivers at this current time. What else? What should we wrap it up with? Should we do player of the game?
Sure.
All right. Go ahead, Justin. Who's your player of the game?
Ugh. Well, there's an obvious one, but I'm gonna throw y'all one. So I'm gonna pick Seth Curry.
Nice.
Seth Curry, man, to me, when the Sixers first traded for him, I was so hyped, and Dives was so upset. Let's remember this. Dives was like so torn up about that trade because he wanted. Oh, what was the guy's name now? Is he even in the league anymore?
I think he meant turn up because I was hammered drunk during that NBA draft show. Hammered.
You wanted Tyrell Terry, the 5-foot shooter from Stanford, who weighed 150 pounds.
You wanted him so bad. He was like, he's the next Steph Curry. And listen, who knows? Maybe years from now, we'll be talking about wishing that they made that trade. But right now, we love it. We love it. We love it. Seth Curry, man, he has been easily the most consistent 76ers since he's been on this team, in my opinion. And that's even more consistent than Joel Embiid. Let me tell you that right now. He has been more consistent offensively than Joel Embiid. And it's so fun to watch. I when JJ Redick first left the Sixers, I was full on thought that the Sixers would never find a better shooter to pair with Joel Embiid, and Seth Curry has been all that and more.
Yeah. There's nothing more you can say about Seth. I mean, given how much he makes, he's just been incredible. The problem is, Doc, what about you, Tiago? Who's your player of the game?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit off script. I thought that this was one of Thibault's best games so far this year.
Okay.
I mean, the numbers may not say it all, and he fouled out besides some horrific calls against him throughout the game. But I thought the Sixers asked a lot of him tonight. First of all, with the minutes, the fact that we're shorthanded. And I mean, he was really toggling between Tatum and Brown the entire game. You look at Jason Tatum's stat line, because we love to do this here on the show. What is it? 5-for-14 with 6 turnovers.
He had 6 turnovers? Damn.
6 turnovers. Another lackluster Tatum performance. And it was a lot to do with Thibault, man. I think that Thibault was on top of his game defensively. And I think that even offensively, hit a huge three-pointer down the stretch, confident, lead into it, nothing but net. And the Sixers felt him offensive, which is something that you rarely feel with Thibault in the court. I thought that's one of the main things this year is to make his mark offensively. And he had a couple of very good cuts to the basket, and Embiid found them. So I thought, these are the games you want from Thibault, man. More of these games where he's just very consistent. I'll live with the foul out stuff because I thought some of those calls were absolute horseshit, especially the last one on Marcus Smart where he just kind of elbowed him in the face. So, yeah, Thibault, man, kudos to him. Some good performances here over the last week.
Yeah, real quick, I do want to say with your point on Thibault, I don't know if y'all heard this, but Ala, the Sixers color announcer, Thibault made a cut behind Jaylen Brown from the far corner and got an easy dunk. And Ala says, "Oh, he caught him sleeping like Rapunzel."
No.
And I was like,
we need to have an Alec conversation right now.
No, we're not doing that.
I was like, what the? I'm like, Rapunzel? I'm like, Rapunzel be sleeping? I'm like, what is?
I don't know.
What is he talking about? And he literally then after that, Kate Scott and him had like a 2-minute conversation on whether or not that was the right princess that he picked in his color commentating. I have never heard that.
I don't know if his candy game changed this season or what, but he is a completely different commentator with Kate than Mark. I don't know what's going on.
Bad, man. He just complains about the officiating the entire time.
I know, it's really humorous.
Okay, let's be honest though. The games that they're calling are completely different than last year's too. I can only imagine how boring it must be to be an announcer when it's constant isolations by Joel Embiid and Steph Curry. Like,
Fair.
let's be real. There's not a lot to talk about with this team right now.
Fair, but man, how many times are you gonna mention the same stuff over again? I mean, he finds fouls out of nowhere. I mean, just come on, man.
All right, go ahead, Dibes.
It's obviously Joel Embiid. I'm going to give some quick love to Danny Green. Did a lot of the little things tonight. Again, he had a bonehead turnover. He had a horrible airball 3 in this game, but he does. He had some big moments. He had a major 3 in the fourth quarter. He's one of the biggest enigmas on this team. I know a lot of people like to shit on him, but it's night and day when he's playing with this team versus not playing. Just watch the game. Just watch the game. So, but my player of the game is Joel Embiid. 9 points there from Joel to end this game. You look at his production in that second half, which is pretty much everything. When you have Joel Embiid, a healthy Joel Embiid leading the way, the Sixers are very tough to beat. And he was 7 of 13 in the second half tonight. So that is, although he wasn't really dominating in the paint, struggling a little bit with Cantor, but it is what it is. He made some amazing, his pull-up game has been spot on. And especially tonight, especially at the end, where back to back. He started out the game, his pull-up game was just lights out as well. Joel Embiid ended up with 41 points. He's got 3 games of 40 points or more this year. He had 5 last year, so he's already on pace to crush that. And he was arguably MVP last year. So that is my MVP. Let's go to Tiago. How would you grade tonight's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a solid B for overall. I think that for them to pull a game out like this, being as shorthanded as they are, it's a good sign, man. It means it tells you your best player stepped up, and for that, they get a B for tonight's effort. And more of these efforts, I think, are going to go a long way to get him out of this hole. But I think big picture, you're still seeing the same type of holes that the Sixers have displayed throughout the course of the year. It's not a team that plays very fast. It's not a team that plays with a lot of pace. And it's a team that relies a lot on a lot of tough shots to win games. So tonight they hit them, and Joel Embiid played like a true MVP, like you said, Chris. So B all around.
He's amazing. What about you, Justin?
I'm gonna go B+, and I would go A-. Only reason I'm not is because this, the Sixers brought Paul Reed back from the Bluecoats just to have him sit on the bench.
He almost checked in. He was in the sports table.
I was kind of hoping to see him get some opportunities to guard JT, just to see it. And I don't think he would have done an amazing job guarding Jason Tatum, but just to see how it would go, I was kind of hoping to see that tonight, being that Niang was out. But I'll tell you what, the Bluecoats right now are in Las Vegas in basically it's just a showcase tournament with a bunch of the G League teams. And they're going to miss Paul Reed tomorrow because they're going to be having Braxton Key running their center.
Oh, no. How tall is he?
6'8". He's not exactly small, but he's definitely not a center.
That's bigger than I thought he was. All right.
It's going to be quite interesting. So being that they just hooked that Shamari Pons, their point guard, is in COVID protocol. You got Jaden Springer, who is with the Sixers. You have Aaron Henry, who they pulled up. You have the guy they just signed, Miles Powell, who they pulled up. They just have a bunch of guards that are not typically playing the guard position.
So Jaden Springer was on the bench tonight?
So Jaden Springer's technically on the Sixers roster right now, but from what I understand, he still has a concussion.
Okay.
Or at least last time I understood, he was in a concussion protocol and basically got pulled up, but just hasn't played, from what I understand. Shaq Harrison also signed a 10-day contract with the Brooklyn Nets as well. He was down with the Bluecoats team as well. So they have no guards that they had at the beginning of the season now. But yeah, there's a little Bluecoats update.
Welcome to Sixers basketball. Well, who needs guards?
Well, what's a guard? I don't even know what a guard is. What is ball handling? What is? I don't know what that is. But I
will say this though. I did a report on Miles Powell last year's draft. he looked way too small, man. I was like, scratch that. Can toss that scouting report out the window.
No,
I don't think it's gonna pan out.
Just too timid, man. I'm too timid. You have your chance.
I'll tell you what, he did just get he I think he only played one game, and so he had a bad knee injury after last year's season. Like, he played really well in the G League last year. He had a bad knee injury and played one game with the Knicks G League team on last Friday, which I was actually at because they played the Bluecoats. Daryl Morey was there and watched him play, and then he gets signed 2 days later. So I just find that hilarious. Like, literally, Daryl was there watching. Andre Drummond was watching. Like, Lauren Rosen was there. Everybody.
Nice.
And then he gets signed 2 days later.
Nice. I hate to be the Debbie Downer here, but I don't understand it. My grade is probably like a C plus in that area. I just don't see this offense. I just don't see it. I made a tweet that this is like worse basketball than it was watching the process Sixers. There's no flow to this offense. There's no ball movement. The Sixers actually have the second most passes in the NBA, but like assist points created, they're among the bottom of the NBA. Just there's nothing functional about this offense other than a two-man game with Seth and Joel. It's nauseating at this point. You know, the Sixers offense is a sinking ship. Doc Rivers has to change something. I don't think that's going to happen. We've seen that.
Chris, we were told that the problem was number 25, and once
I thought Brett Brown was the problem.
25, everything was going to flow smoothly, and the ship was going to sail, and apparently that's not it.
No,
here's my thing.
There's no help. There's no rescue ship on the way either. At least as it looks, as the picture looks right now.
And that's my one problem with the whole like Doc Rivers thing is the whole point of a coach is to bring out the best in your team. And like, in all honesty, what else is going to be efficient about this team? He's got Joel Embiid and Seth Curry and a bunch of other role players, in my opinion.
So I'm finishing up an article on that.
Yeah.
Justin, because I think what the next step that they need to do, they can't just sit and wait for the Ben Simmons shoe to drop, right? This could take another year, theoretically.
Yeah, they're not.
You have to start tinkering with the roster around the edges, and you have to start adding athletes and guys who play fast.
That's it.
So you incentivize Doc Rivers to play a more up-tempo offense. Right now, these guys that he has on his team are so slow, unathletic, and just bad decision makers that the team as a whole just kind of like shrunk into this like box. And Ben Simmons, for all his flaws, was the guy who could play with tempo, play with speed, make quick decisions, and he's no longer there. So you have to start tinkering with the roster so you get more athletes on there. Like, for instance, you need Shake and Korkmaz on the team at the same time, right? These are slower guys, slow on the ball in general. So that you don't need a Ben Simmons trade to happen. That should be starting like right now.
See, here's what's hard though with that whole situation is, and I think this is a big reason why Morey hasn't made those decisions yet, because I think we all know this from Morey's track record. He's going to do whatever he can to make his team the best he can. Statistically speaking and efficiency speaking, he's going to do that. He's done it in the past, and of course he's going to do it with the organization he's with now. I think what's holding Morey back from making those kind of decisions and what to round out the roster for what he has now is the fact that he does not know what he's going to get back yet with the Ben Simmons situation. So he doesn't want to move somebody and move pieces around when you don't know what the main pieces or main piece you're going to get back for Simmons is going to be yet. Because for all you know, and maybe it throws away this season if the trade doesn't happen through the season. For all you know, the trade you get for Ben, the best trade you get for Ben could not be the best thing for the roster you put together right now. And in all reality, the roster, whatever roster you put around Joel Embiid right now, is not winning you a championship. No matter what it is, the little pieces that you're going to trade, the little things you could pick up in like what's in the G League right now to replace COVID players is not going to make you win a championship at the end of the day this season. So it's like the GM's job is to get a championship, and that's not going to happen this year unless Some big Ben Simmons trade happens before the trade deadline.
So there's a poll I ran. Do you consider the Sixers season a lost cause?
Wow.
Over 1,000 votes, 68% think yes, this season is a lost cause. And that kind of goes to your point, Justin. And I that's a really good point you made. And I agree with you, Tiago, too, not to be the politician here. But this Sixers roster, I think, is going to look very different come next season. At least if it doesn't, then we have even bigger problems.
See, I don't
There's
think
a question.
I think it's going to look very different depending on the player you bring in for Ben. It could look very similar if you bring in a point guard that is similar to Ben Simmons' strengths. If you're bringing in a guy, if you're only bringing in DeJounte Murray and some guys from the Spurs, it could look eerily similar because they're going to be like, okay, we're bringing a guard who's going to get to the rim and who's going to play defense and throw some assists around. That's DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
But if you're bringing, obviously that's not what people want. But what I'm saying is, if it's something like that, then you might not see the roster trade change that much. It might be a lot of shooters, a lot of set shooters. But
they just can't compete at this level athletically.
I agree.
Even the bottom feeders, even Toronto, even the Knicks. Like, there's going to be a tough. Like, there's just I don't see, even with the bottom of the Eastern Conference, it's a tough matchup for the Sixers with a lot of these bottom feeders because of their lack of athleticism. They're just not there. They're not.
I don't disagree with any of that. Like I said, Tiago, my whole point is as much as you want to see them be more competitive this year and bring in guys to round out the roster that they have right now. And you obviously, I want that too, in all honesty, because you want to see them win games and you want to see them play good basketball. It's just, I don't think Morey wants to change anything until he gets that big move out of the way.
I got to ask a couple questions in the chat. No, I have never been wedgied. So,
all right. We've been
not that I remember.
Nope.
So
I got wedgied by Ben Simmons one time.
Did you?
Oh,
yeah.
So you're the reason he wants out of here, Chris.
Yeah, I guess so. No. My answer to the question is, like, the Sixers wholeheartedly, no one's gonna like this, but if there's a way they can get out of Tobias's contract, and I know it's like borderline impossible, if there's a way that you could trade Ben Simmons for draft capital and have a successive trade to back that up, I am 100% on board. Take major steps back this year.
Morey may like that. Morey may like that in his.
We've heard that Joel Embiid is okay with this, so that is kind of a biggie.
I'm sure, but I don't think Doc would like that, and I think Morey and Doc are like.
Who the hell cares about Doc Rivers at this point?
Daryl Morey does.
Daryl Morey does.
That's who.
He should not. For real?
Yeah, I think the reason why you see guys like Andre Drummond on the roster is specifically because of Doc. Oh. I think if you were asked Daryl Morey to put the rosters together, I think it would look a lot different than what he has.
What has Andre Drummond done the last month?
He's there.
Okay, I don't think we could talk about Andre Drummond. Drummond's been pretty good. I don't think we can talk anything.
Not lately.
Lately, he's had COVID. What do you mean?
I mean,
he hasn't been good the last couple of games, man. Like, he should have a stretch five.
It's hard to be good when your team sucks. Dude, let's just be honest. This team is not good. I feel like we're talking about this team like it's supposed to be a contender. They're 9th or 10th in their division or their conference. I mean, like, they're not good.
Justin, let me just say this. Like, yes, they're not good, but you should have a stretch five on the roster so you can run spread pick and roll with Tyrese Maxey.
They do. It's Niang.
Niang's not a 5, man. He's like a 4 at best. Like,
but that's the thing is if Ben Simmons was on this roster, if the roster was constructed how they thought it was going to be going into this summer, Morey structured this roster around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid going into this summer. All of a sudden, Ben Simmons pulls this BS saying that, oh, you guys are mean to me, and so I don't want to come back.
We're not doing the Ben stuff again.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that, like, the roster is built exactly for the strengths that the team had last year. They got rid of Mike Scott and brought in Georges Niang. Georges Niang is a Swiss Army knife in your bench unit and could possibly make other lineups happen with a Ben Simmons at the point guard. You have Tyrese Maxey, was replaced Shake Milton as your bench point guard, who is a step up offensively there. You had Furkan Korkmaz, who is not what they wanted as a shooter off the bench, but what they got cheap.
They re-signed him.
Yeah, because he was cheap. They didn't want him. They wanted another guy.
Trying to say. I mean, you're going after these value contracts, but you're making the team worse.
My point is that the team is bad because it was structured around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and because Ben Simmons is now gone, the team is a piece of shit. It is garbage. It's bad. And the team is not going to get better. And I can almost guarantee you that Daryl Morey is not going to make the team better via trade until they move Ben Simmons. Maybe by the end of the season or by the trade deadline, if they're still competitive and they're like, you know what, fuck Ben Simmons. Let's try to make this roster as good as we can going into this year and try to make somewhat of a playoff run. Maybe they'll do that. But to that point, they're going to wait for this Ben Simmons deal.
Last question, and this is the big question, is that would you trade Tyrese Maxey with Tobias Harris in a deal that got you a better player or got out of the contract? Would you make that?
It depends who you're getting. Because Tyrese Maxey may not be your future when it comes to with the Joel Embiid offense at this moment, but later down the line could really be a really good player. So if you're getting a James Harden, 100%. If you're getting a Damian Lillard, 100%. But if you're just getting like a few pieces or a De'Aaron Fox or a CJ McCollum, no, you're not making that deal.
If Ben Simmons was to come back, I would do that deal in a heartbeat.
Well, yes, but Ben Simmons isn't coming back.
No, I'm just saying, if he was to come back, I would do that deal in a heartbeat.
Me too.
You get a guy like De'Aaron Fox with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, I think you're a much better team than you are today.
I would probably do that as well. If Ben Simmons is on this team and you're going out and getting a good guard, then yes, I'd probably do it as well. But I'm not talking about the scenario as if Ben Simmons coming back.
Right.
Because he's not. Sorry to burst your bubble, everybody. Ben Simmons is not playing for this team again. He hates Daryl Morey. It's not going to happen.
All right, let's wrap it up, guys.
I can tell I'm sick of the Sixers right now.
All right, it's a hard team to watch. It's a really hard team to watch, no doubt about it. But anyway,
all Simmons' fault.
It's all Simmons' fault. Fox and Briggs. Anyway, let's wrap it up. Justin, lead us off, man. Where can we find you? Go ahead.
All right. Well, this was a nice rant session. I appreciate it. Sorry, Tiago.
Get it out, man.
Sorry, Tiago, if I was kind of mean. I don't mean it. I love you, but
man.
We all love. Yeah, you guys can go find me on Twitter.
Wine.
Ben hates Doc Rivers. Ben actually doesn't hate Doc Rivers. He hates Daryl Morey. Fact for you, Carl. Go follow me on Twitter at @J_Persichetti. I have been following the Delaware Bluecoats really closely. Have gotten some good information, have gotten some good interviews, and have talked to a lot of players, and it's been a lot of fun. So go give me a follow if you want constant updates on that. I think their next game that I'll be at is on the 28th of this month. So go check that out. Yeah, go find me on Twitter. Also, go DM me on Twitter ideas on how you would like what's your answer on the wedgies? I haven't been wedgied, Lena. I already said that.
I have not been wedgied either. I don't keep that.
Guys,
I love our comment.
Guys, people in the comment section, go DM me on Twitter or go at me on Twitter and tell me ways you would watch on our YouTube channel of me covering the Bluecoats. Me and Dabs have been talking about ideas. I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I want to know what you guys are going to watch. So go at me, DM me on Twitter. Let me know what kind of content you would like to get besides me live streaming Bluecoats games, because I can't do that. So go let me know what you want.
I love this chain of comments starting from Carl. Ben hates Doc Rivers. And then we get end free throws and open dunks. Tiago, you're up, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things Ben's hate. There's a few of those things are on there. Yeah, you can follow me with T-Scabia on Twitter. I'm also finishing up an article about Daryl Morey on some of the stuff that we just talked about. I think Delco Green touched it. Daryl Morey making $10 million a year just to move Ben Simmons. I don't think so. I've been a little bit underwhelmed by the job he's done, but like Justin said, maybe there's a bigger plan down the line. So we'll see. We'll see. Right now, the team seems to be a little bit static, but there's always a move. There will be a move. There will be a move, and when that happens, we'll find out what the team will look like. So,
yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. You can find me on this channel at the Suit Up Geeks channel, nerding out over Spider-Man over the last several days.
Me too. Me too. That was so good. I'm sorry, this isn't a Spider-Man podcast, but oh my god, I'm going to see it again with my family. No, I'm of course not. But oh my god, I tweeted out right after I got out of that theater. That may be my favorite Marvel movie I've ever watched. And I've seen all of them. And I'm not kidding you when I say that it might be better than Endgame, in my opinion. Honestly.
No, it is. No, and it's fresh. I'm gonna go see it again on Wednesday. And that was hands down one of the best comic book movies I've ever seen. Quentin, I'm not spoiling anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil you.
I had like 8 people on our show doing a spoiler review where we just break it down literally last Thursday night. So if you want to hear all about that, there's that. And if you want to hear about my thoughts, comic book stories and stuff, we did a show on Friday night where Peter Parker's moving towards and comics, MCU wise, I thought it was really, really good content. Quentin says going to see Spider-Man on Wednesday. I will be too. I want to hear your thoughts, Quentin. I want to hear your thoughts. I cried 3 different times. It was one of the best movie experiences ever.
So much foreshadowing, and I love it. It was so much.
There's a lot to talk about. My buddy who's been overseas with the military is now home, and I'm like, what do you want to do? And he's like, go see Spider-Man.
Yes.
So it's going to be a fun Wednesday night, Quentin. I cannot wait. Just a couple more days to go. But that is that. I've did my first NFL draft series started today. Me and Mark did. I'm going to do a QB series to start because the Jalen Hurts thing is very much real. The quarterback class is very much in question here. However, if you're going to be looking at like a late first round, second round pick, that is definitely something to consider if you're an Eagles fan. We started it off with Malik Willis today. We did some film breakdown and his fit with the Philadelphia Eagles. Go check that out. Kenny Pickett is next. You can expect that coming within the next few days. Kenny Pickett is a terrific quarterback who's now getting conversation about number 1 or top 5. That's how much he has risen, like Joe Burrow. Like he has gone from here to here in one season. So yeah.
3 first-round picks.
Yeah, I know. So the Colts pick is official. So I will be in full effect with the NFL draft. Sorry, Sixers.
Y'all are going to be here's what's going to happen is Tiago, it's going to be me and you on these post-game shows.
No. No. I will always be watching.
No, but here's the thing. Listen, though. I wouldn't blame you at all. You guys usually go crazy with NFL draft stuff already. The fact that the Eagles have 3 first-round picks this year, y'all are going to go nuts with that stuff. So I can only imagine.
Yeah, we'll be going real hard on this one. Yeah, we typically go like, Tiago, like 30, 40 deep. This will be – I'm starting now. So we're going to be – we've got 5 months. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot to talk about. The edge defensive back class is deep and strong, but like ranking them is going to be really fun because it's that good. And then you get the quarterback class, which is like everyone's kind of all over the place with it. So it's going to be really, really interesting. My gosh, if we blow 2 out of 3 picks, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if they blew 3 of them. Let's be real. All right, let's get out of here. We're talking Eagles.
I'll talk Eagles all day, but thank you everyone for watching. Tomorrow night we'll be doing Eagles post-game live, so you can expect that. We'll see what happens. So follow my man Justin over there at J_Persichetti. He is Tiago at T Scabia. For Justin, for myself, for Tiago, stay awesome, everyone.